Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturgio and Chris Gucci.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Feel Good Friday. It is Friday, March the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all you Irish people out there that are celebrating today. You know, the people in Ireland, are you Irish? You end in
Am I Irish?
You end in an I. I end in an O. So, and by the way, I should probably tell us that it is Dave Sturgio, Chris Gucci, Paisans over there, Italian family.
You know, I'm Irish and Italian.
Yeah, same here. It's in the beard sometimes. Sometimes when the light hits me just right, this gets really red in the summer. But yeah, so St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope everybody enjoys out there. Enjoy responsibly while you're watching March Madness, which we'll get into in a little bit because that was absolutely bonkers yesterday. A couple games that are just, busted all the brackets. I think there's like 0.17% perfect brackets left out of like 4 billion or whatever the heck the number is. So none. Basically, so there's one guy out there with like, oh, I actually picked this team. So again, a lot of these guys when they do the bracket pools and they fill them out, some guys fill out like 30 brackets, and it's like to me that's not fair.
I'm actually ashamed to say this out loud right now, but I'm going to anyway.
You didn't fill out any brackets.
I didn't fill out a bracket.
Me neither. First time in a long time. Last year we did
this is like my second
time
in 3 years that I haven't. That's just good. Honestly, bro, I think I've filled out maybe 36 brackets in my career.
You're a career bracket guy?
I've missed 2 out of the last 3.
We've been busy.
My life is a joke.
We've been busy over here at Chop Studios. So welcome, everybody, to another very, very loaded show. A lot to talk to, a lot to talk about, talking to you. We'll start in the NFL. Obviously, a couple things that are going down right now. Still free agency, guys, okay? That doesn't just end, all right? It keeps going. It's constant, and some more moves were made. I put Jordan Love up there just to please Chris, really. The biggest move, I thought, yesterday was Gardner Minshew signing with the Colts. Now, the reason why I say this is big is because technically right now they don't have a quarterback one. They cut Matt Ryan, right? They've obviously moved on from everybody else that was on the roster. I'm sure like Jacob Eason is still there. Maybe he's not. I don't even know. But when I look at a Gardner Minshew with the Colts having the fifth pick in the draft, clearly everybody's thinking they're in on a quarterback, right? And they should be. Do you think Gardner Minshew starts the year as the Colts starting quarterback regardless of who they draft?
Not regardless of who they draft. You got to see how the kid pans out when he gets to camp. But I think that they're going to draft, or they're going to definitely draft a quarterback. I mean, I think that writing is on the wall.
I mean, Gardner Minshew can't be your long choice.
Gardner Minshew is going to keep on finding himself in this position, and that's not a bad spot to be in.
Not at all.
Being realistic. I mean, you come in and you be a stopgap. Gardner Minshew will play a decent amount of time in the league at that role. He just got out of that role basically with Jacksonville. So welcome back. Jimmy G is going to be in a similar role. No matter which way you look at it, the Raiders are going to be on the market for a long-term quarterback.
You would think.
Almost immediately. Whether or not they're able to land one in the draft this year, I think that remains to be seen. Or even if that's the approach they're going to take, maybe they'll be tanking for Caleb next year.
That's true. I keep forgetting that there's
USC,
apparently a Patrick Mahomes 2.0 waiting in the wings at USC. So we'll see who tanks for that guy. I don't believe
nobody's actually tanking.
I don't believe in tanking.
But when you're looking ahead at the next year's quarterback class, I'm not sure how loaded it is, but as of right now, they have arguably one of the best quarterback prospects since Trevor Lawrence, because we get one every 3 years. That's the best ever.
And before Trevor Lawrence, it was Andrew Luck, and before Andrew Luck, it was Peyton Manning. So it's there. Well, that was in every 3 years. That's a little bit more of a gap there. The Giants keep spending. They wind up with another receiver. They re-signed Slayton. Obviously, they re-signed Shepard. We knew about that. But yesterday, they bring in Paris Campbell. Now, are the Giants piecing this together to? I mean, obviously, they acquired Darren Waller the other day too. So when you look at this Giants offense. They're bringing back Daniel Jones. He gets his bag. Saquon Barkley now playing on the franchise tag. What are your expectations for the Giants? Are they piecing this together to have a bunch of number 2 receivers to produce a good passing attack, or is this just like?
Well, I mean, like I don't.
They got to attack a receiver in the draft.
You're looking at Paris Campbell as a 2.
He had a great year last year. He did.
As a what?
As a what?
He was beat out by Alec Pierce, right?
Technically, I guess, and Michael Pittman Jr. But
so he was a 3. On a team that sucked.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at Paris Campbell as a bad football player, but this isn't going to be a signing that pushes the envelope or puts them over the edge in terms of pass catchers. I think really what they get out of Paris Campbell is another guy that's very similar to Lazard, but probably not even as good. Whereas he's going to be a good downfield blocker. He's committed to playing football on all 4 downs, 3 downs, however you want to look at it. But I'm not. No, Daniel Jones to Paris Campbell. Don't get too comfortable.
If I had to make an assumption right now or a bold prediction here on March 17th before any mini camps or anything like that, before they even step on the field, if the Giants don't spend their first-round pick on a receiver, which a lot of mocks have the Giants drafting a receiver, if they don't, give me Hodgins to be the best receiver on that team next year.
Saquon.
Or Saquon Barkley, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But
the Giants, there's a real chance at regression for them next year because they played above their heads a little bit this year. I'm not saying that they're definitely going to do a little bit worse, but now, as teams go into this season, they're looking at the Giants as a tougher game as opposed to what people may have looked at them as a potential pushover early. The coach is a real good coach. Obviously, we saw it firsthand last year. But teams are going to have a year to adjust, and now Daniel Jones is getting paid. There is an expectation that he should be playing a little bit better based on the contract.
Now there is.
Is he going to move forward again? Is he going to take another step? It all depends on Daniel Jones. If he stays the same, if he's the exact same quarterback, they'll win some games. They'll be regular, but they're not going to threaten for a title this year. They need some more help at the at the receiver position for sure. And a rookie's not going to do anything at the 20. What are they picking?
25th, right before Dallas at 26.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. At least out of the gate.
Receiver in the first round seems to be a little deeper. I mean, it's not a deep class, but the first round receivers can, like a Zay Flowers or something like that, that kind of guy could fall to them, and he can make some noise in the Giants offense.
I'm not sure about what the consensus is, but based on the conversation we had with the draft guy, he was saying that there's only real 4. So in my estimation is if there's only 4 and then there's a drop-off, those 4 might go sooner than they should.
Yeah.
How many drafts in recent memory has there been 4 receivers not gone by the 25th pick? Usually there's 4 off the board by then, no question about it, especially in a class where it's a little bit more thin.
Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. I'm just checking real quick on one thing here. Mike Renner, before he's just the draft guy. It's like I knew it was Mike, and the last name was like.
You can't hold that against me right now.
No, not at all.
He's a Packer. I should have been the Packer guy.
Why not be considered the draft guy? Like that's a badge of honor.
The draft guy, Mike.
Anyway, Mike, hey, see you later, buddy.
I'm sure he's watching.
I'm sure he's watching. James Robinson. I was actually talking about the NFC East for a second. The Eagles make a couple moves as well. They re-sign and extend Darius Slay after rumors were that he was cut. So a weird situation brewed over there. He wanted a new contract. He got the extendo he was looking for. So they're keeping a nice chunk of their defense together from last year. So we'll see how that plays out. Marcus Mariota signs with the Eagles to be the backup to Jalen Hurts. So they're the same guy. Like Gardner Minshew, Marcus Mariota, all of a sudden they're going to be these journeyman backups that stay in the league for a while. And there's other ones out there, which we'll get into in a minute. I'm very surprised that specific people don't have at least an opportunity yet. We'll get into that in a minute. James Robinson signs with the Patriots. So another Patriot back that you just don't know if he's going to get the workload. You obviously have a decent running game over there already.
Seems like a Bill Belichick guy out of the gate.
He does. I don't hate the move. I don't hate the move at all.
I think it's a really good move.
The Patriots are doing pretty good in free agency right now, adding some talent. What we just heard about is Mike Gesicki also signing with the Patriots. So he seems like a Belichick guy too. So they add tight end help. Another bigger splash. Look, we knew going into free agency the Chicago Bears were going to be active because obviously they have the most money to spend out of the entire league. And they trade away the #1 pick. They get the haul. They bring in DJ Moore. Now they go out and sign your boy, Robert Tonyan, to be their backup tight end, I guess, the Colt Kmet. So all of a sudden, their tight end room is pretty good for a young quarterback, which is, by the way, a young quarterback's best friend is the tight end. So you have a Tonyan and a Kmet now to do work underneath. And then I feel like this is a splash move. Donta Foreman is signed by the Bears. I know they lost David Montgomery to the Lions, but Foreman over there, after the year he just had, now you feel like the Panthers are going to be in the market to trade for maybe one of these running backs. Unless they want to road Chuba Hubbard to the I
don't know if the Panthers have what it takes to make any trades at this point because they do
have the #1 overall pick.
The Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they gave up everything else to get it.
No, I'm saying they could trade down a spot or two a spot or two.
Could you imagine trading up the entire world and your next 15 years of your
No, but I'm saying they can get a haul back
to get the. I mean, like that would be absurd because you can't.
You're not going to trade a one for any of these.
You're not going to trade the one now, considering what you gave up for it. If they don't take a quarterback at one right away, it'll be looked at as a complete epic failure. There's too many risks because they didn't trade all that.
They signed a quarterback though, the Panthers. Oh man, who's the stopgap over there? They just signed. Was it Heineke? No.
No, he went to Atlanta.
What the hell? Who the hell
Jacoby Brissett? No.
Brissett. No, he's a Commander. Jacoby Brissett signed with the Commanders,
Either way,
by the way.
It can't be anyone worth noting because he's
truth.
We can't
the fact
remember
that I can't remember it.
But no, they're not. They could draft a running back maybe, but not that high. You know, they're not. The running back is out of the question when it comes to that. Maybe they could bring in Kareem Hunt. Maybe they could bring in. There's probably 40 other running backs that are available. Derrick Henry,
Guess
Dalvin
what?
Cook.
Here's where we're at now. So again, this is like it's still kind of the first wave of free agency. The first couple days. Remember, it started technically on Wednesday, so we're only on Friday right now. But the first wave of free agents seems to be coming to a little bit of a slower stoppage right now. Gun to your head, Chris. Who's winning free agency right now? Who's making the right moves for their team and putting themselves in a position to win based off of free agency alone? And this could also mean parting ways with people because that's technically part of free agency as well. For me, I mean, I'm going to say Chicago because they're spending the most money and they're loading up. They're trying to load up.
I would say maybe Denver.
They're bringing in some talent over there, and it's the Sean Payton effect.
Probably more money than everybody else.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, like I don't know how often that translates. I saw a graphic the other day, and I'm not going to say exactly, but I feel like the biggest spenders see a big increase in win totals.
They do.
Following
There is
season.
an actual stat, yeah.
But not many of those teams have went on to win anything.
Like I think the last year's winner of highest spenders were the Jaguars, and they improved. They won the AFC South, and they got themselves a home
year
playoff
after
game.
year, whoever spends the most money in the offseason has a drastic chance to improve. I would say that the Bears are in a very good spot to improve on some wins, regardless, because if the division got a little bit worse, you could argue with Rodgers leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I'll argue that they are still the best team in the North.
I mean, it's the Vikings, but
the Vikings defense is really bad, and
they're a playoff
losing,
team.
But
So
they're
right
losing
now,
guys on defense that was already bad. Like their
is
better
true.
players are gone.
Not wrong.
Thielen gone. Dalvin Cook on the market. What did their offensive line look like at the end of last year? What's it looking like now? There's a lot of turnover going on
sounds
right
like
now.
what do you got in that cup over there? Haterade?
No, it's actually almost empty. It's like Luke Cold coffee at this point. It's gross.
Cold-hearted over here about Minnesota.
Who won free agency? It's
So far, I mean, it's winning.
So far,
You
it's
don't-
hard. I mean, I don't really like all the moves that Chicago made. I think the last two were decent, but I mean, would you consider winning free agency the trade?
Yeah.
You know, because then it's like
Yes,
winning the
technically-
off season. Then you could say fine, but I know that they're going to botch that anyway. So
You can't botch that. Come
they
on.
can't.
They can.
They
I guess
can't?
they can. They can.
They will. They botched the Justin Fields thing already.
Oh. So notable names that are left out there after the first couple days of free agency. I have a funny feeling that might have seen the last day that Carson Wentz starts for an NFL team. And I've been saying this since Jump Street.
Well, yeah, that's
Carson Wentz is nowhere to be found right now. Neither is Matt Ryan. Neither is Teddy Bridgewater. Like, Bridgewater will find a role. But, like, Matt Ryan might have to retire or might have to just be a
Carson
coach
Wentz,
or something.
I read an article about Carson Wentz meeting with his agent and coming up with a plan to remain in the NFL at all costs. No matter what he has to do, he'll even coach.
No.
Basically, I mean, he wasn't saying he wants to coach, but he's accepting of the fact that now he is no longer considered a top 32 quarterback in the world, and now if he wants a job, he's going in saying, "Hey, I don't have any expectations. I want to come in here and help out, learn some things, and compete." Nothing wrong with that. I think it's admirable. You know, a lot of guys, they end their careers in the wrong way because they have an ego. They may have some success early, and then they have this inflated expectation that they deserve the world. Carson Wentz wants to go back out and earn it. He's still got enough, youth is on his side when it comes to this. You've seen it with Geno. I wouldn't write Carson Wentz completely off yet, forever.
You think he'll right back?
But there's definitely going to be a couple years before we see Carson Wentz by choice being a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Great guy, Terrible quarterback.
We ended up seeing a ton of quarterbacks that we never expected to see start a game in the league this year.
That's true.
So
That's very
this
true.
always works
The
out
running
that way.
back market right now, after all the moves that have been made already, like James Robinson was signed by the Patriots with the following players still available: Zeke now, Fournette, Kareem Hunt, Mark Ingram. Like, don't you think Kareem Hunt would be a better signing over in New England outside of James Robinson?
Well, I mean, Kareem Hunt might want double the money.
This is very true.
So if you're looking at it from that scope, then no, not even a little bit. James Robinson has been equally, if not more productive than Kareem Hunt has been over the last 2 seasons.
Your opinion, who lands on a team first, Zeke, Fournette, or Hunt?
I think Fournette will wait.
He'll wait to the playoffs.
Yeah, he'll wait. He'll wait. He has no problem.
The playoff
with that.
money will come shining through.
Probably Kareem Hunt, honestly.
I would say my assumption is
he's
that
been a free
too.
agent far longer than Zeke. So there's been
I wouldn't say far longer. I mean,
far longer. Like the
the
expectation.
season ended, he had no contract.
But going into, how about this? Not only the season ended, he had no contract. Going into last season, he was in a lame duck year where he was available to other teams. Like, people have been potentially looking at Kareem Hunt in their lineup for almost a year and a half at this point.
That's true. Receivers, Kenny Golladay of the New York Giants. He got cut after his abysmal year. Adam Thielen still out there visiting the Panthers, I believe. The last I checked. DJ Chark, he's out there. Still no team for him. Jarvis Landry. I've always been a Juice Landry guy, but I don't see him landing anywhere else. The tight end market, Dalton Schultz. You want to talk about a landing spot for Dalton Schultz? You probably have mentioned this already, but he'd be a good fit in Green Bay. He really would. I think he would be a perfect fit for Jordan Love in that offense. If not, I still say L.A. To join Kellen Moore. But I have to ask you this before we move on to a couple things from the March Madness tournament. Jordan Love, right? He's now officially the guy, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's unofficially official. I hate the people that are like, it's
Jordan
not
Love's
done
QB1.
yet.
It's
not done.
It's not done in the sense of
we
don't know what we're getting back.
The paperwork has not been filed yet. Okay, fine.
Jordan
But
Love's
it's
starting
done.
QB1 for
Exactly.
Green Bay next year.
So now I ask you, where does Jordan Love fall in your rankings of the NFC quarterbacks? Now, just based off the Mojo market, these don't really count for skill because a lot of guys have banked value. So, like, the top dogs right now in the NFC are Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff, and then Dak Prescott. That's all market value, right? But if you had to rank them in order of obviously best to worst, the best quarterback in the NFC right now is who? Would you give it to Jalen Hurts just because of the fact that he went to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, Rodgers is out of town.
Brady's
gone.
Now,
I mean, we're looking around. I'll just do a quick gloss over. It's not anybody else in the East, no offense. It's not anybody in the North because I think they're all not that good. Out West.
No. Okay.
Are you saying Justin Fields, Steelers?
No. You didn't even say the South yet, but
Yeah,
like Derek Carr's. I'm just saying. Look at this Rolodex of NFC quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. I was not arguing, but having a little Twitter,
time is now, Dallas.
a little Twitter debate. A little Twitter debate when we were talking about where does Jordan Love rank, and it's like, well, I mean, right now.
What about Stafford in the West?
What about him?
I'm throwing a name.
I'm not. Are we talking about who had a?
No. Who's
Jordan
the
Love
best quarterback going into this year in the NFC?
Right now, I mean, if we're looking at it from a GM standpoint, I don't know that there's 5 quarterbacks in the NFC that, like, Jordan Love has more value in the league than about almost all of them that not named Jalen Hurts at this point in terms of the potential, and his age, the situation that he's coming into right now. It's there for the taking. There could be a very real conversation to be had about Jordan Love being in the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFC by the end of by October, realistically, because there's not. You looked right.
Well, you still have Kyler Murray, who's coming off ACL. He's not going to be there till about October, November.
Right?
Yeah, so you could scratch Kyler.
We're looking at
where do you put Dak? Honestly, to me, looking at this list, and just because guys like Brady, Rodgers, all gone now, and you don't have to worry about these guys.
I'll put Stafford over Dak in terms of who I think is a better quarterback. I think Stafford's a better quarterback, but I think that Stafford might be done.
No respect for Kirk Cousins?
I have exactly the respect that Kirk Cousins deserves. He's average. He's around the top 15, the top 14 quarterback in the league. He has weeks where he looks like he could be top 5, but then he has weeks where he completely ruins every chance his team has to do anything that season.
It's so crazy how loaded the AFC is compared to the NFC.
It's there for the taking.
God,
I think there's also some shred as to why Green Bay is willing to do this right now. Where it's like, look, it's the NFC is wide open. We could have some real success. Even within the division, we want to look at Kirk Cousins. Okay, do I have to explain everybody on earth? It's like, who's the most underrated player in the NFL? And it'll say Kirk Cousins. Then you look at the actual metrics, and it's like, no, he's rated exactly where he belongs. Do you put him in the top 10? No. Do you put him top 12? Maybe. Even if you think Kirk Cousins is underrated, he's top 12 to you. So, really, like, if most people are rating him at 16 to 15, middle of the pack,
you give him a little bit of
you're
extra.
You're putting Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, you're putting any of these guys above the other one. One day you might, the next day you won't. That's where it's at with these quarterbacks.
So it's definitely Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, I'm putting Dak Prescott at least second.
All right, I mean, at least second?
Yeah.
I mean,
meaning there's a debate for him to be better than Jalen Hurts.
No, stop.
Well, look, you're going recency bias.
I'm going based on that fact that we've seen Dak now for 5 years,
like
right?
7, but yeah.
7 years.
Feels like it.
Right? 7 years, one playoff win in his rookie season. I'm not taking anything away from Dak. I think there's
and he won a playoff game this year.
Other variables. Fair. All right. I'm not taking anything away from Dak. I think Dak is a little bit better than Kirk Cousins. I think he's, right above that average quarterback. He's like fringe top 10. But then he, again, has games where he looks like complete shit.
But it's crazy that you say that, fringe top 10. Like, do you put Stafford in the top 10 in the league right now?
No, but
so that's what I'm saying.
But I think we're looking at it when going into last season, yes. So it's like, what are we talking about here? It's one bad year.
Same thing with Dak. He had a bad year. He did.
But he's had 7, like, not great years. It's like, I want to see a little bit more. You have to admit, bro, Dak needs to do more.
Of course he does.
Right? So it's just, that's it.
Not
it's
a debate.
We got to see him do it. It's not like he's in year 3. It's time. Time is now, Dak. Could he jump up into the top 5? I doubt it. Could he be considered clear-cut top 10?
Top 5 in the NFC?
Oh, no, I'm talking about the league.
Oh, in the league, yeah.
Top 5 in the NFC. I mean, if you're not putting him there, then you're just But then again, you could have people argue the fact that Daniel Jones is better at this point, which is crazy.
Get the hell out of here. Stop it.
Crazy.
Stop it. Stop it, everybody.
But my point being is, if Daniel Jones goes out and throws 30 touchdowns this year with a bad catch.
He's never thrown 30 touchdowns.
I know, but if he does it this year, then will it be automatic that he's better? There's a lot of recency bias, but then there's a lot of other things where it's like, yeah, recency bias because it factors into your argument.
Somebody that's in the same conversation as a Jordan Love is a Trey Lance. We don't know what he's got because he got hurt quick and he's out.
Fair.
So,
I would say the thing that
where does Brock Purdy fall? Brock Purdy gets to the NFC title game.
Falls to the QB2 in San Fran. That's probably where he falls.
I think so too. So
look, the NFC is going to be fun. It's wide open this year.
Thank God. I needed it to be wide open.
I can't sit here.
I
can't put Jordan Love anywhere just yet, though. To answer the original question, it's hard for me to rank
of course
a guy that
I was just
I
curious.
Think he's got 86 career attempts.
I mean, I know we switched the things
but
already,
he should be
but
way higher in the market.
To me, Jordan, yeah, of course, he's $14 right now or something like that.
And he's gone
where
up
Brady's 170 or something.
Let's be real here.
But right off the rip, Jordan Love is better than Jacoby, Baker, Daniel Jones.
There's nobody on this.
Goff,
there's nobody
Cousins,
on this list.
Stafford. I think Jordan Love's better than those guys right off the rip. He hasn't played a game yet, a real meaningful game. Now, he hasn't run out of the tunnel to be the starting quarterback of the Packers, and I think he's going to have himself some success.
On this list, there's no quarterback on that list that I would trade Jordan Love for.
And you wouldn't trade him for Jalen Hurts?
I mean,
you would.
I probably would.
You would. But that's the only one, and that's fine.
That's the only one. And honestly, as a Packer fan, I'm not saying like maybe I would get roasted for this. I wouldn't do it. But there could be a point in a year where it's like nobody would because we haven't seen Jordan Love yet. So because of the lottery ticket that I'm holding in my hand, it's worth it because, I want to see what Jalen Hurts is able to do without a loaded offense.
Oh, it's going to happen. As soon as he gets paid, it's game over.
So we'll see. We'll see how good Jalen Hurts actually is. I know that he's a really good player, though. So
yes, he's a good player.
I think that he's a good off-the-field guy, good character guy,
sure,
good teammate. Can't say anything bad about
great
Jalen Hurts.
Stuff. Speaking of great stuff, Furman took out Virginia yesterday. Did you see the final play?
I did.
Is it one of the biggest blunders in NCAA March Madness history?
It is.
The guy's got a timeout left. He's dribbling under the court, under the basket. Instead of calling timeout, he thinks he might see somebody way down yonder, and I'm talking blindly chucks the ball as far as he possibly can. It gets picked off, one pass, jumper, got it, and the game is over. Virginia's done. That kid is going to be sick for the rest of his life.
Coach got to know his players and got to tell your players we got a timeout. Like, I put that on the coach. Even if he told him, I still put it on the coach.
Can't the coach call a timeout? Is that allowed?
I don't think you could call a timeout. A coach can't call a timeout while the play is happening. It's not like
because when the score, like when a big score happens, it's like beep, and the coach is like timeout.
Yeah.
So in the middle of a play, the coach has no pull.
No pull.
So that's on the kid. Yeah, that kid's gonna be sick.
He could say, "Call timeout."
Yeah,
call timeout.
hey, timeout! And he's like, "Well, all right," and he just throws it as far as he can.
But he didn't.
What a ridiculous.
So I mean,
moment.
like, that's the only play that I saw yesterday. So I
it was a great one.
I hope you don't have any other questions.
No,
for me
I
on
don't.
the tournament.
Well, hey, listen, Jersey, stand all the way up. Princeton takes out Arizona. Okay, the 15 seed takes out the 2. Arizona was picked to win the damn thing by a lot of people, and last year. Arizona's been consistently good at college basketball for as long as I've been alive. They've just been always good. Even, did they have Mike Bibby?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I've watched Arizona for years do work in the NCAA tournament. For them to get bounced by Princeton, Jason Garrett's very own Princeton Tigers took out this team last night, and I was watching it here with a couple of the guys, and I'm like, this is incredible. So 2 massive, massive upsets. The biggest thing I could say to you guys is this weekend's going to be even crazier. You know it. The tournament's going to get nuttier. Go out there on the Mojo market right now and start betting on who you think is going to win these games. There's long shots. Look, I don't know if anybody picked Princeton. I don't know if anybody picked Furman. I have no idea. Probably
not. A lot
not.
of people were picking Furman as like one of the potential upsets. I saw 3 teams. Furman was one of them where they were like, oh, this team could go far.
Like last year's St. Pete's.
Bro, what?
I'm saying there was a story in Jersey last year where the guys were making this crazy run.
Yeah.
And then the coach left for Seton Hall, I think.
Was it St. Peter's?
St. Peter's, yeah. See, I know my stuff. But anyway,
what was his name?
Bob Smith. So
I think he transferred already.
Bob Smith is gone. Anyway, so to do that, you got to follow us right now on social media over there on TikTok, Instagram, and the old Twitter machine at Mojo, M-O-J-O. Get involved right now. And, of course, do it responsibly over the weekend. There's a lot of action. The thing is, guys, I'm telling you right now, if you just pull up your app while you're watching, well, you can't do that because if you're watching this on your phone, you can't. But right after this show, pull up the app, see how much stuff they got going on, man. You can narrow this down. Today's promos, Friday Spotlight, tourney features, tourney props, tourney money lines, sleeper picks. It's all here, guys. You can see that. That's not hard. It is just a constant Rolodex of things to do on the Mojo Market app. So do that. iTunes, iPhones, Androids, you can all get involved in the March Madness right now. Do it. And yeah, that'll do it for the show. So again, a great weekend ahead. Enjoy everything. The NBA will get back into that conversation come Monday. We're down to like the final 10 games of the regular season. So that's coming down to the wire. Very excited about that. The Knicks are going to be a playoff team no matter what. Just a matter of what seed they're going to be.
Just a matter of what team they're going to get beat by in the first round.
You know what, dude? So the thing is, sir, it's Feel Good Friday. I said it at the top of the show.
I am not a Knicks fan.
I don't care. Your business partner is. So root for my happiness here. For the love
I'll root for the
God.
Knicks to make the playoffs and lose to
They
the
made the
Cavs.
playoffs already.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think they're going to get.
You just saw what I went through with Zeke Elliott, and you want me to go through
I
another
don't
Knicks
want
elimination?
you personally to go through anything.
Seems like it.
I just don't want.
Seems like
I
it.
don't really care for the Knicks. I'm a Miami Heat.
And guess
guy.
what? They don't care about you.
I'm a 90s
either.
Heat guy, bro.
90s Heat guy. He's got Charlotte Hornets stuff up in the.
Why though? What? Who's on that Hornets team?
Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Alonzo Mourning.
Alonzo Mourning. Where did Alonzo Mourning go?
He went to the Heat.
I'm
Yeah.
Alonzo Mourning's my favorite NBA player ever, bar none. So for those that didn't
Anthony
know,
Mason would eat his lunch. God rest his soul. Loved you, Mace. It's my first jersey I ever bought, besides Starks.
you're out of your mind, by the way.
I love Anthony Mason.
Alonzo Mourning.
Remember how you shoot a free throw? You'd have one.
If it wasn't for Shaq, Alonzo Mourning, I mean, really, Alonzo Mourning was, if he played today, he would be dominant. Then there was like Hakeem, David Robinson, Ewing, Shaq,
Duncan.
Rick Smits, Arvidas Sabonis. Like, even the bums were like 7'4".
Rick Smits was a 7'4"
the Duncan Dutchman,
body in front of
the
your
Duncan
house.
Dutchman, Arvidas Sabonis, DeMontis Sabonis' father.
Faja. Crazy. Dave Sturchio, Chris Gucci. Have yourself a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here on Monday.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.